if you're ready. I'm already ready. So
I'm
I've
not
gone live.
ready.
I'm live, and I'm in full effect, waiting for you to join
Are
me.
you in full
Hello,
effect?
children. I'm waiting for the missus to join me because she's ill prepared, as always. Always ill prepared. But today, let's see if she moves the camera. Watch. She goes, oh, there's her hand. Oh, for you guys on the YouTube, you get the special edition knuckle show.
Does that look okay?
Hold on, we're waiting for her to hurry it up.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Get it together, sister.
I'm getting it together. We're live.
We're live in full effect. All right.
Oh
Enough
my
filler.
goodness. Hello. I need to move this over just a tiny bit. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, as it says on Le Banner. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. No.
French?
French. Oui, the language of l'amour.
I know what a oui is.
Oh, Lord. Don't forget to find us on Instagram and on Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR.
Look, I have a bald spot right there.
Do you?
Look at it. That's on my head.
I've got a bald spot right here.
I got to cover it. I got to cover my bald spot. Hold on.
I've got a bald spot nowhere because I've got way too much hair.
It's like this because that used to be my part. My part used to be here, and now it's all. It's like a valley.
All right. Well, that was interesting.
Sorry.
We're going to talk about movies, not about your weird hair.
It's okay.
Weirdo.
And today we, much like seemingly our life now, we don't go to the movies as much as we used to.
We haven't
We've
been
busy.
able to. Yeah, there's been so much happening.
Like the screenings are almost the only time we go anymore. Just a time. Like this weekend.
We did go this week.
This weekend we paid to go see a movie, and we paid for a rental at home so we could have something to watch. But it was something we've been wanting to watch. So they were both paid for out of our own pocket money.
My pocket money.
And then I have a few Blu-rays and stuff to talk about. So we don't have a lot of brand new stuff, but we're going to talk a variety of stuff. Sadly, only two of the things we're going to talk about we've seen together. All the rest of the crap, as always, this one didn't watch. So, my hair is jacked up.
Well, because you were trying to show your bald spot thing.
Well, I also went to class, and I didn't fix it after I got home from class.
My head still hurts.
Not all of us got to stay home from class and be like this. I'm lounging.
No, I was lounging. I wasn't lounging. I was cuddled up like this in pain.
Teaching people to destroy and fight each other.
Sinus migraine and my face hurts.
All right, so what are we talking about?
That's okay. All right, so let's start in order. Yes.
And Rebel Wilson.
Yes.
And Stephen Merchant.
Yes.
And Sam Rockwell. Could it have been directed by Taika Waititi.
And she won an award for that one, right?
No. She didn't win anything. She was nominated for best supporting. No.
And for
was she supporting in this one or actress in this one?
I think actress, and then she was nominated.
I guess I can look. It's right here on our paper. Let's look for sure, so we give our audience the proper information.
Okay. Deserve it. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. She was nominated for leading in Marriage Story, supporting for this.
Okay.
We're referring to the movie Jojo Rabbit.
Nice.
Which was a movie I was really, really eager to see. I like Taika's stuff. What We Do in the Shadows. He directed Thor Ragnarok. He did the Wilder People movie that I always forget the name. Is it The Curse of the Wilder People?
Wilder People.
Anyway, that was one of my favorite movies, and you'd think I'd remember the damn thing. Anyway, he's also going to be one of the co-stars in that Free Guy movie with Ryan Wilson.
Yes.
Ryan Wilson. Who's Ryan Wilson?
I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds. But he wrote and directed this. He adapted the screenplay from a book. The premise of the movie, if you don't already know, it's about a little boy named Jojo.
Hi, Jojo.
He gets a nickname Rabbit because he's a little German kid, and he's very much about supporting and becoming a Nazi, supporting country, right?
Okay.
And so he goes off to the little camp where they're teaching all these little kids to become Nazis.
Oh my goodness.
So they're Sam Rockwell is like the turn off the sound. Sam Rockwell is like the little platoon leader.
I don't know how to turn off the sound.
Sorry.
I did. I got it finally.
Professionalism knows no bounds in this one.
What's that?
Sam Rockwell leads a little platoon of it's more like a Boy Scout camp, but they're teaching them like throwing grenades and war training, but they're all little. Like this is him. He's a little tiny kid, right? He's a little boy right here. And
where?
Right here.
Okay.
And Rebel Wilson is also part of the camp and she's like crazy. She's funny. She has a very small part, but she's really funny. Scarlett Johansson plays his mom. And then the basic premise is, I don't want to really give away the ultimate reasoning, but something occurs, and this is during the war, that kind of makes him question with his family his allegiance to Hitler and being a Nazi, but also his family. Because I'll just say that his mother might not be as loyal to the Nazis as you may think. And then he has an imaginary friend that's actually Adolf Hitler. That Taika Waititi plays Adolf Hitler.
That's funny. So
it's really funny. It is very much worthy of all the awards and stuff that it got. Yeah, okay. It's such a great movie. It's very, very funny, which is bizarre because of the content.
Yeah.
Because it's dealing with, like, there's scenes of Jews hanging in the square, and it's dealing with the war and stuff. But it's more of a satire than it is really just straight comedy. The imaginary friend via Hitler plays kind of more like his conscience and his loyalty, so it gives him advice. He's like, just do it. Just throw that grenade. Then do this. And he gets the nickname because he refuses to kill this rabbit. Like, one of the things they want to do, they want him to kill a rabbit, and he won't do it. They're like, Jojo Rabbit. And then anyway, so different things happen. It's got, the first half is really funny, right? It's a lot of silliness. It's goofiness. The second half gets heavy. Still funny stuff in there, but it gets very heavy, and it even gets sad. Like, you'd probably cry at part of it. And then the ending of it is both sad and kind of uplifting in the direction it goes and how they deal with it and things like that. So it was really a surprising movie, and it is a movie that I would have never thought would have been able to exist because of the content. And in this way, I could see this being a dramatic movie, but I never would have expected a comedy movie that worked. I used to always say that Nazis are the best villains. So if a Nazi's in there, you're going to have a great villain. Now I find them pretty funny too. So if they're handled the right way. So if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, check it out. It's an excellent, excellent movie. It may be something that you're thinking, I have no interest in that, but I'm telling you, it's really good.
That's what I was thinking.
And ironically enough, we're giving this copy away on our site.
What?
So this week, probably in the next 2 days, I'll be picking a winner. So if you haven't entered to win a copy, or you haven't seen the movie and you want a copy, enter. I have this one. This is the actual copy. Still in the plastic. It's this copy. This could be yours. Look.
What do I have to do to win it?
Look, it'll have me on it.
Okay.
Now you can watch it with me. You go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
and you read what it says to do, and then you do that.
There you go.
It's not that hard.
Seems easy enough to me.
Anyway, so that was that one.
Okay.
I have a couple other ones if you want me to get into all these first, and then we talk about the other ones together. That way you can just sit there and not have to work.
That's fine. I just sit here and look pretty.
The other ones are kind of short, though. I have this new movie. It's another horror flick, but kind of a comical kind of thing called Snatchers. And the premise is this young girl here on the front, right here. This young girl loses her virginity to a young man who she's really hot for, but he's an idiot. And then she wakes up the next day pregnant.
What?
Like 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
And then
that sounds like something evil is afoot.
Then madness ensues.
Yeah.
And there's monsters and
is it funny?
It is pretty funny, but it's not scary at all, but it's funny. It's a little gory.
I love it already.
It's got, like the gynecologist gets decapitated trying to give birth.
What?
There's the best part about it is like little practical effect creatures.
Oh, I love that.
But to me, and I'm gonna just tell you because it's not really a spoiler, but it is. But it's what they do with them. The characters are kind of like bug-like. I think they're aliens, but bug-like creatures. But what they do is everybody and I'm telling you this because this is a big applaud to the actors, is they latch onto the back of their neck, right? So they could have easily done this thing, but they don't. Their heads are like this, so they're sitting on top of the back of their head. So when the person shows up, they're having to walk around like this everywhere. And an alien is on the top of their head.
Yeah.
Guiding them. So every actor that got taken over had to stand like that. Like this and walk around.
That's got to be painful.
And do everything. But it's fun. It's kind of silly. I didn't know anything about it when they sent it to me. So I was kind of like, I guess I'll watch
No,
this was actually
exciting.
the last one that I watched of the stuff I needed to watch this week because I kept putting it off.
Yeah.
And then I watched. I'm like, this movie's a blast. So it's a lot of
I
fun.
want to watch it now.
It's silly, funny, a little gory, goofy. But there's two films in here. There's your creature feature, and then there's the normal teen comedy.
Yeah.
And it's got a whole thing about like these two girls here on the front are best friends, but like in every stereotypical teen comedy, they haven't been close friends since elementary school because they drifted apart.
Oh, that's too
but they come
bad.
back together in the scenario, and then it becomes the issue of why did you stop hanging out with me? Why do you not talk to me? And then, they take jabs and they get an argument about this is why nobody likes you and this, only to come back. The normal, it's all
normal stuff.
very
Cool.
cliche
like
stuff,
it.
but it works well. It does an interesting direction with the rest of it. So
well, now I'm going to watch it.
Snatchers, fun little movie. I can put on movies anywhere so you can watch it at work.
Thanks, babe.
All right, Snatchers. Never mind. I was going to say something nasty. Well, I decided
this is a family show.
This other one is weird. Okay. And it's weird because they sent me a link. Let me start again.
Hi.
They sent me a press release about the release of this, and I knew it. I remembered seeing it. I don't remember when I watched it. It had to be when I was a kid. I think it came out in 74 or 76, something like that. But it was the very first primetime animated film. And it's this movie called The Point. And it's from Harry Nilsson, who a lot of people know who Harry Nilsson is. He put an album called The Point. This movie is based on his album. So all the music and stuff. But Harry Nilsson did tons of different music, not just not just for animated stuff, but he did a lot of like big name music. The movie is directed and animated by Fred Wolf, who's I think did with the Flintstones and things like this.
Flintstones.
And then it's narrated by Ringo Starr.
Oh, cool.
But Ringo Starr was not the original narrator. When this originally aired, it was narrated by Dustin Hoffman.
Okay.
But Dustin Hoffman agreed to do it for whatever price he got it for a one-time airing. So they had to go back and have somebody else redo it for some future airings. So this is the 30th, I think it's 30th anniversary or 50th anniversary. I don't remember. 40th. I don't remember. It's some anniversary for this. But the whole premise is it's this little town. Well, here, I'll read it because it sounds more interesting the way they write it.
Okay.
All right. Years ago, there was a place called the Land of the Point because everything in the Land of the Point had one. The barns, the houses, the cars, everything, even the people. Everyone, that is, except for Oblio, who was born round-headed. Since he had no point, Oblio, along with his trusty dog, Arrow, was banished to the pointless forest. Join them to see what wonders await these two intrepid travelers as they make their way on their amazing song-filled journey of discovery.
Music.
There's some great music in it. It's kind of an acid trip.
Wow.
It is the 70s. It's very bizarre in the art style. I'm going to tell you that just watching it as old as it was, as old as it looks, I loved it because it sucked me back in to that
Your
time.
childhood. Well, because like a lot of the things when we were young were like that.
Yeah, and I don't remember the whole movie, but I remember seeing this.
Do you?
And I don't know if it was just I saw clips somewhere. I don't know if maybe I saw it on something else that showed a clip of it or used it on a TV show playing in the background. I don't remember, or if the animation is so similar that it just looks like something I saw. But not only is it really good, but what's really freaky about it is it's very relevant now.
No.
Because the whole premise is about him being cast out because he's different.
That's sad.
And cast out because he's doing better than somebody. Like there's a game they play that's like this ring type triangle thing they throw, they catch on their head or whatever. But he wears a hat, if you've seen the picture, so that he has a point. Right? He beats this other kid, but his other kid's dad is like a bigwig. So he starts saying, well, it's against the law to not have a point. And because he didn't have a point, they have to enforce the law, so they banish him. Even his parents are like, well, we're sorry, son. There's nothing we can do about it. But while he goes out to the pointless forest, which is a metaphor on top of the real name, is nothing in the forest has a point. but it does have a point. So not the physical point, but they have a point of why they exist.
I see. So I'm gonna have to watch this.
When he says, "Well, I'm pointless," and they're like, "None of us are pointless."
No,
and so it goes into, so as he goes on his journey, he learns about how everything has a point, both metaphorically and physically.
There is a purpose.
And it talks about different things and finding out how those that are holding you back sometimes are guilty of the same exact things. It's got discrimination aspect of it. It's got the hierarchy of social classes. It's a little bit of everything thrown into like 75 minutes.
I love it.
It's really good. So this might be a little bit harder to find. It's from MVD Video. They put a lot of weird or eclectic type stuff out, but if you can find it.
This review is on point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hilarious.
If you can find it, check it out. It won't work so much for the younger kids because they may not connect with the weirdness of the art and the psychedelic aspects of it, but it is something for the whole family, so it's not an adult cartoon.
Should we be concerned that this was like a lot of our cartoons and art and movies was very like trippy?
Well, if you go back and look at most of our...
Are we okay? Did we end up okay?
Well, that's the argument that I've always had with everything is when people start throwing fits about SpongeBob's or Teletubbies or things like this.
No, leave dang Teletubbies.
The people that came from that time people are not the people causing the problems. Mm-hmm. The people that came from the time of Roadrunner and Speedy Gonzales. And
we're okay.
We're the people that are okay. It's the current people that have become all like, our people grew up and freaked out to say to somebody else, but we're the ones that sat at home watching Tom and Jerry spend 30 minutes trying to kill each other. Mm-hmm. We never went outside and tried to hit each other in the head. Well, not all of us did.
I didn't go order an Acme safe so I could throw it off the bridge to kill Roadrunner.
And it's like, nobody was offended by Speedy Gonzales when we were kids.
No, not really.
Because it wasn't looked at as meant to be insulting. It was like, okay, he's a Mexican, and let's make him a Mexican. Make it very clear that he's Mexican.
Yeah.
And yes, I see
that. Offensive now.
I do see it, but you also have to look at things for what they are. It's not. They didn't sit down and said, let's offend Mexicans.
No, but then on the other side, as a child watching, I was like, ooh, he's speaking Spanish. So I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's connecting.
And I feel like I had a little Speedy Gonzales thing.
Yeah, and it's also like when you watched...
he was the fastest mouse in all of Mexico.
It's also if you watch things, that would always have like the little Asian...
I want a Speedy Gonzales shirt.
The Asians were drawn...
Yes.
And yes, it is racist. I'm not saying they come off art racist, but a lot of the early art that was just drawn. It's like, okay, we got to make it clear to the people that what this is. A lot of the people when they were making movies and you would have a white person play an Asian or you do blackface, they weren't necessarily meaning to be racist. They were doing that because there was a racist aspect that held those people down from being in the business.
Yeah.
So the performers weren't saying, let's make fun of blacks or Asians. They were saying, we need these black Asian characters, just like they make men dress as women. The people were being oppressed by not letting them in the business, but not necessarily because of what they were doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't make it okay. I'm just saying.
Not okay.
But if you look past, because I don't know if I told you this before or not, but when they release things like Sesame Street, when they released them on DVD and Blu-ray, the first few seasons have parental advisories on them.
Yeah.
Because they were smoking or there was whatever in this episode. And so because somebody bought one and complained that, oh my God, there's this. You go watch Peter Pan animated movie. You go watch Pinocchio. You watch Dumbo. There's people getting high. There's people drinking. There's people smoking. That stuff Disney can get away with then, but nobody can get away with it now.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, this doesn't have all that, but it has some psychedelic, trippy stuff in it. So adults would have fun with it in one way, get really drunk and watch this.
Yeah.
And then if you can get your kids to watch it, it's got a good message, and it, like I said, it's very relevant despite being dated and old. This release, they did a 2K high definition transfer from the original 16 millimeter negative. It's got a new sound, but it's also got new interviews with the people that worked on it. Different screenwriters, that kind of stuff. It's also got different things about adapting the movie and everything else. So there's a lot of cool things to take you into the history of this movie.
There you go.
So the point is available now.
And I've added a Speedy Gonzales shirt to my cart.
Oh, dear God.
For later.
All right. We'll save this for TV tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
I mean Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So let's move on.
All right.
So now we have a documentary, and then we have a theatrical.
We're going to talk about this documentary.
They're actually both kind of in the same league because one of them is kind of a reality type film. The other one's a documentary.
Yes.
So which one would you like to talk about first?
I would like to talk about the documentary.
Okay. So you tell me about it. Do you remember what it's called?
It's called Making Apes.
Yes.
The documentary on Planet.
Tell about apes having.
Apes.
Oh, not that one. Okay.
No. Anyways, it's documentary based on the different makeup artists and stuff that worked on Planet of the Apes and how that has influenced makeup industry.
Yeah, how that film
time.
Prosthetics and effects changed Hollywood.
Yes, it is amazing because I didn't realize a lot of these things had happened because of Planet of the Apes. First of all, I love Planet of the Apes. The original series, all of those old
She loves
movies.
the new series too, even though she doesn't want to.
I didn't like it at first.
She did not like it. She refused to like it.
It grew on me like a fun
guy.
Fought it. I did. But I like him now. And I even like the Mark Wahlberg one.
I like all of them.
Because I like the design of those apes as well. It was a little different.
I like every Planet of the Apes movie and TV series that has ever been made.
Then good or cartoon?
Bad. I recognize, I like the cartoon too. I recognize that some are good as the others, but I love them all.
Yeah, I do too. So, anyways, in this documentary, let's go find it.
One of my favorite lines before you get into that was on that 70s show, and they did a Star Wars episode, right? So they're seeing Star Wars for the first time.
Yeah.
And you might think, what does this have to do with Planet of the Apes? Well, let me tell you. There's a great dialogue where they're talking about going to see Star Wars. They're sitting in the theater, I believe. Kelso, played by Ashton Kutcher, they're talking about Planet of the Apes, and how there's no way this new movie Star Wars is going to be better than Planet of the Apes. And they're like, you don't know that? He goes, there's no way they can be better. Those apes could act. It's always made me laugh.
Okay, so Making Apes, the artist who changed films. So we start with how Planet of the Apes began with the initial makeup test and like, oh, this could really work. But then they're like, we can do better.
Yeah.
And I guess that was
originally supposed to have Edward G. Robinson playing Dr. Zaius with the makeup test along with Charlton Heston. And the reason the movie got made is because of Charlton Heston.
Yeah, really.
Because the script was written with I think how many did they say it was like 40 passes by Rod Serling, the Twilight Zone guy.
Yes, they were like, oh, this is right in your vein of whatever you do.
But then they used somebody else's, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So I knew Rod Serling had worked on it, but I never remember. And I didn't know it was that deep. I thought it was like a one-off, and then they moved on with somebody else.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. And then the first guy, once it got greenlit, and the first guy with the makeup test, he's like, okay, well, I don't want to be in the makeup that long, and I get claustrophobic.
Well, that was after they had done the makeup test.
Yeah.
And the original makeup looks different than what we got.
Than what we know.
Which is the one we got's way better.
Yeah.
And then when they finally, years later, after even that, they moved on to make the movie. And then when he came in, that's when he was saying.
Yeah, he's like, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And then the guy's like, as soon as he left the room, he's like, okay, he's out.
And it was the makeup artist that he was out.
Yeah, he's like, he's out.
Not the director.
Who do we find? And so it's
and for you to have a makeup artist who cans Edward G. Robinson, who is like
at that time.
It was massive at that point. Like, that just shows the power they had.
They did. Well, because of the makeup that the movie got greenlit. Anyway, that they saw that it was possible to have a humanoid-looking ape.
And it not be funny.
Goofy or funny.
Because that was the big fear when that movie got released is everyone just going to laugh at it?
Right.
And because if you look at it, even at now, I can see somebody watching go, what is this? And laughing.
No, but
if you really watch the story, they're so relevant.
The thing starts with they're like beating these poor people.
Yeah, because it goes right into like.
I remember watching. It was little. Oh my gosh, this is so scary. I was scared because you see the first gorilla in the black suit, and they're like,
when he's on the horse and goes,
and I was like,
I was obsessed with these movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I still am, but when I was a kid, I watched it every single time it came on. I think my mom thought something was wrong with me.
Well, there is
because I had a heavy rotation of Planet of the Apes and Popeye.
That is so random.
Popeye, I posted this to somebody else recently. The Robin Williams Popeye, not the cartoon. It was we just got cable, right? And back then there wasn't as many movies showing on television, so HBO was new. So it would replay the same movies a lot.
Yeah, because that's all they had.
My parents got rid of cable because I wouldn't stop watching Popeye.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Well, it's because it's not that good.
We didn't.
I don't like that movie.
That movie is awesome.
I don't like.
But we didn't have. I still love that movie. But we had cable a brief amount of time. It was watching Cloak and Dagger, watching Daryl, watching that, and then my mom got so much tired of that. She used the excuse of the fact that I watched Porky's in the middle of the day because but back at one point they only played rated R movies at night. But at early stages they played just random movies all day long. And so I'm home alone and I watched Porky's on cable by myself.
Oh, you got invested.
She tried to say, well, if they're going to show that filth during the day, meanwhile it's one of my dad's favorite movies. That's what's getting rid of. And I'm tired of that Popeye movie. I know it's the Popeye movie.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so we go into Planet of the Apes and how we get into production and making the masks and making sure that the actors can still move and have, facial features through the prosthetics. And it's amazing because a lot of the techniques and the way they make masks was because of this movie.
Well, and what's funny too is, and I didn't say this when we watched it, but one of the things that always bothered me of these movies was the fact that Roddy McDowall seemed to be the only one that had that weird nose twitch, right? And I always thought that was such a great movement to make you believe the ape side of him as a thing. There's a moment in the movie where they talk about one of the later films where the guy playing his son was trying to figure out how he did the thing, and the makeup artist, he told him, can you tell me how he does? I'm his son. I should be able to do that. And he's like, if you can get Roddy to tell you how we do it, then I'll help you with it.
Yeah.
And he went to tell him, and he's like, no. And like, why should you do that? And he explains him, and then it explains in the movie. I'm not going to tell you, you have to watch it, but it explains how they made that prosthetic different than everyone else's,
which makes sense. It's so fun.
I think my favorite part of that was the food situation.
Oh yes, because they had to. I mean, you couldn't eat in it, and even that's even the thing now. Yeah. Actors, when you have like full face prosthetic, you got to be drinking your
what's funny is
they
tell the story where, and it shows an old clip.
I
don't know if it's a real clip or if it was a reprise, but anyway, but it's a guy in the makeup and he's eating normal food with a fork, but he's having that, and then they talk about a sequence where the gorilla's on the wagon and it was like 100 and something degrees outside and he did something and the prosthetic broke. Right, it kind of fell open on the lower jaw, so they went to replace it, and inside it were like peas.
He had a bunch of peas.
Peas and stuff where he'd been eating lunch had fallen down in there, and they realized, okay, from now on it's all milkshakes for lunch.
Oh Lord, because they're in the middle of the desert drinking milkshakes.
Yeah.
And then one day they forgot the straws, and
Charlton Heston ran back to camp to get the straws.
He seems like such a nice guy. Who knows?
My cold dead hands.
What's his name?
That's Charlton Heston.
Oh, was that him?
Yes, he was Mr. NRA guy.
Anyhow, I mean, this is just such an interesting thing. And then you find out later throughout the story that it's because of this movie that there is even a makeup artist category in the awards.
Oh, you knew that?
I did not realize that it was because of this movie.
Yeah, they won the very first Academy Award for special effects, but it was an honorary.
And so then,
and the only reason I knew that is because I only knew that because years ago I read that it was an Academy Award winning film, and I was like, "This movie won an Academy Award. I can't imagine they would have voted for this back then." And I looked it up and it said for special effects. I said, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
But then I was watching something else, and it said there was no special effects category. And I'm like, "What?" And then I went and looked up and realized at that point there was a special thing they gave to because it blew people away so much.
It was amazing
that they gave them a special award, and then. In the late 80s, I think, is when they finally made it an award.
Yeah. Well, and then because of this film, then it goes into other films and other makeup artists that were inspired by this. So, of course, you have like Rick Baker, who I think we all know.
Stan Winston.
And then we had
Greg Nicotero.
Papa, what's his name, was there. They had a clip.
Westmore.
Yeah, Papa Westmore, who I like because...
the reason if y'all don't know this, the reason she calls him Papa Westmore, it's not his name. They call him because on the show Face Off, his daughter was the host. And so he would come in and give pointers to the people. And she'd be
like, my dad.
And she was like, I remember the first time she watched it, she didn't know who Westmore was.
Oh, I know now.
And she was like, who is this old man? What does he know? And I'm like, I tried to tell her, I was like, he worked on this and this. And she goes, whatever. She does this on shows if she just doesn't connect with him. And then over time, she started seeing his name everywhere.
Yes.
And then this thing also talks about the building of Westmore Studios and who he was and what was going on. So now she's like,
I'm all like, I know who that is.
Yeah, now
it's
she's in them.
No,
I was surprised like Glenn Hettrick wasn't on there.
Yeah.
And people like that, but I guess they couldn't get everybody.
I mean, they got a bunch of people on this thing.
And they had a lot of people on there that were the original people that worked on the actual first film, not just all the current stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they talked about how this was the first time they had to mass produce masks. So you had your main actors mask that every time prosthetics, and then how you had to mass produce just the normal slap on for the background
they didn't move and talk or anything.
But these people were working around the clock because you had to have a new mask every day.
Yeah.
And a new thing to put on. And so these people were like doing the molds every night. There was an assembly line.
I think they were working 16-hour days every day?
Every day. There were people working different shifts. They put it in the oven. The next crew comes in. They take them out of the oven. The next people do the make. I mean, so they had to build the assembly line.
There was someone that said that when that movie finished, they were like, I will never work in this industry again. Not because they didn't think it was going to be good, because they were done.
They were like, it's exhausting.
And then, of course, they all went on to do something
it would have been amazing. And then just being able to see the close-up of how they were doing the makeup. And to me, it was so amazing that they had a net for doing the eyebrows, which does, of course, because you have to braid them in.
Somebody's tormenting me over here.
About?
So we've been, hold on, we've been training and meal prepping and all this stuff. So we're dropping weight and training. So I made a post today about my hatred of vegetables.
I agree.
So one of our viewers and friends over here, he didn't even say hi. He just posted tacos, hot dogs, nachos.
We can still eat all that.
He can, just not today.
He's
tormenting me because he's Mr.
As long
Funny
as
Man.
we've eaten something veggie and small earlier in the day, we can still.
We're gonna have Wingstop today.
Yeah, so we're okay. I still have enough calories for Wingstop. It's all good. Anyways, and then
he just added pizza. He just keeps like.
You know what? I don't even want pizza anymore. I have no flavor for pizza.
Oh, pizza's
don't
so
even
delicious.
care. I'm over it.
I know
you do.
I have my French bread pizzas, so I can eat those at night or something when I'm. But here's the thing: is when I know I'm going to do that, I just make sure I either work out extra or I try to not eat too many calories during the day so I can enjoy it for the evening.
Yeah, so it's possible. Anyways, you should watch this. It has Guillermo del Toro.
They're drinking my canned water.
Yeah, me too. So it's actually a really interesting thing. It's available right now on Amazon Prime for.
I think we paid like $5 to rent the high definition version of it.
Yeah, and you can watch it for 48 hours. It's actively available.
So you watch it again if you want.
Yeah, I might.
I kind of want one of those posters.
I do too.
They were signing.
I am really a fan of Planet of the Apes. I like the whole idea of it. I think that I don't know if the apes are going to be the ones to rise up, but eventually, when our planet goes nuclear, because we're dumb humans that want to destroy everything, something else.
Well, here's the thing: is with that whole franchise,
it's possible.
Like I watched all 5 of those original movies, as a young guy, and it wasn't until I was an adult that it clicked that they were that circle, because. The first 2 were just a new movie, what I mean? And you get Charlton Heston come back for that brief little amount of time, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the sequel, and they're doing this, whatever. And then you move on. And then the third one, which is essentially the Star Trek whale movie of the Planet of the Apes movie, right? Where they change it up and they come back here, which the third one seems to be most people's favorite.
Yeah. Great Juice Plus.
Which
that's my favorite.
Comes here, and then you get into the war, and you get into the uprising and all that kind of stuff, and then you realize that it's because of the third one that the other 2 happen, which leads into the first 2, and it's a whole intriguing circle of how it works. I mean, there's loopholes and there's missed opportunity things that don't always add up, but as a whole, it's just it becomes one that holds with you. And then if you've never seen the TV series kind of is its own standalone thing, but it's a great series.
And then there's the Mark Wahlberg one, which I liked the look of.
I love that movie when it came out.
I did too.
It doesn't hold up as well as some of the other ones in the bigger picture.
They would continue that one, but then we got the whole new ones where now there's not even prostheses.
Yeah,
they're all CGI'd with the
which they look amazing,
dots.
But it's one of those things. It's kind of like puppets and man in suit and practical effects. It's like every time I see something like that, as badass as it looks and as awesome as it looks, it makes a little part of me sad because I don't want to lose those other elements. I don't think we ever will.
Yeah.
But it's like the puppetry stuff of having, you go watch the original Star Wars or the old monster ghoulies and things like this. It's people using puppets to create these creatures and whatnot. And then you see them now and they're CGI, and I'm like, they look awesome and it's even better than the puppets. But there's something about that person there doing it that gives it a soul.
Well, I don't think that'll ever go away. There's some people that prefer that.
Yeah.
When they're making things.
And they did make an announcement this week in regards to Planet of the Apes, because Disney now owns the Planet of the Apes franchise since it bought Fox.
Yep.
And we all assumed the franchise was done for now. But originally it was announced that they announced the director. I don't remember who it is off the top of my head now. The new director of a new Planet of the Apes movie coming. And she was pretty stoked because originally announcement was it was going to be a direct remake of the original Planet of the Apes, which the Tim Burton's was the same thing, but it was more of a reimagining than a remake. Mm-hmm. But it has now been said that it is going to be a direct sequel to the last Planet of the Apes. Was it Dawn or War? I think it was Rise, Dawn, and War. It
was Rise, Dawn, then War.
Yeah, so it'll be a direct sequel to War for the Planet of the Apes. Which would be interesting because I believe Caesar died in that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Now the apes have gone off. They're like, we're going to go do our own thing.
Yeah, so we'll see what direction they go with it and how they do it. It's either way. As far as I'm concerned, if you give me something Planet of the Apes, I'm going to be happy.
Me too. I'm going to watch it.
You know what I mean? It's like, because you can always go back and rewatch the originals. And with us, even if we're going to go see a new one that we know is connected to,
I'm going to watch it.
We're going to rewatch the entire franchise. Maybe not the whole TV series, but we're going to rewatch.
I'm going to wear my Dr. Zayas pin and my shirt.
Yeah, we have our make
America Ape again with the Statue of the Liberty.
That's right.
I love it.
Planet of the Apes is amazing. But yeah, check out the documentary. It's awesome. Even if you don't care about Planet of the Apes, it's just interesting about film history. You should, I agree. But it's interesting about film history and things like that.
So check it out. It is called Making Apes, the artist who changed film.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
And there's a lot of interesting behind the scenes like fights and stuff. So there's some emotional stuff about how some business went down and then reconciling and things like that I didn't expect to be part of that. I thought it was going to be there's nothing like watching old men cry.
Don't like that ever.
She doesn't like big burly men when they cry. That's what gets you the most.
That makes me so
big
sad.
Strong men
I mean, everybody cries, but I don't. It makes me sad.
That's right. So the last one we're going to talk about, I was super excited for. One of my go-to TV shows for when I don't feel like just having to sit and watch them. I watch all the brand new episodes, but then I usually have the reruns on heavy rotation. And when I found out they were making a movie, I'd lost my mind.
You did.
And I'd been following their Twitter on all the posts when they were shooting it. And we got the trailer. I ran to her. I was like, look. And she's like, what? And so it is for the Impractical Jokers, the movie.
The movie.
And I was really concerned that it was going to be more of a limited release and that it wouldn't be showing near us. Thankfully, it was showing at our local cinema, Cineplex, that we go to. And so this lovely woman allowed me to go check it out together.
Well,
she likes
the show
too, but I'm just saying, as over other things that we could have gone to see, we got to choose this one.
Yeah, it was fun.
But if you don't know what the show is, it's 4 friends that have known each other since high school. So, anyway, but it's these 4 guys, and they've been lifelong friends who they basically just like tormenting each other. So the TV show, they have challenges, and they have to go do something. And if you don't complete the challenge, you get a thumb down. If you complete it, you get a thumbs up. But they're usually embarrassing or painful or something. It's kind of like Jackass, but with more of a point.
Yeah.
Like more thought.
On this one, whoever loses, they have to go to a punishment.
A big punishment.
And the rule is you can't get out of the punishment.
You can't say no.
You can't say no to whatever
the
punishment
you're off the show.
is. Yes. That is the rule.
And
what I like about this is it's not like dangerous, life-threatening things like Jackass.
Sometimes they are, but it's not just stupidity. It's actually they write these gags and they put thought into them. It's not just, dude, let's get kicked by a bull, which I love Jackass. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't a bash on Jackass. I love Jackass.
Different. I don't like it, but I like this better.
But I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about a movie because every time you take something like this into a movie form, it has a very big chance of failing.
Yeah.
Jackass worked in all their movies because there's no format.
No,
they just do different stunts. There's nothing else.
Things.
They spent all their budget on their big crazy openings, and then they just did the normal shows. So in this one, they actually crafted a story that shows them as kids in high school, but it's them playing themselves as kids, which is funny.
It's hilarious.
Because one of them even looks at the camera, he's like, this is me. Essentially, he's like, just go with it. It's kind of like Howard Stern did the same thing when he shows himself in college, but it was his current self.
Yeah.
Then he goes, this is a movie, so you got to suspend disbelief, know. And a situation that happens during their early days leads into the purpose of their journey.
Mm-hmm.
So they do something where it involves going to be a road trip to hopefully make amends for their drama as a kid. And they decide they get these tickets for something, but they only get 3 instead of 4. So they decide, hey, on the road trip, we'll do our challenges, and whoever wins at the or loses at the end can't go.
There you go.
So then when they do the challenges in the movie, it's just like the show.
Mm-hmm.
They're actual unsuspecting people doing different things and whatnot.
But then throughout the show, too, they're just tormenting each other to do things they were never able to do on the show.
That's what I thought was interesting, that not all of them were the 4 men challenges. Sometimes they just did something to somebody.
They were just messing with
or they just did silly things that they wanted to do to random people for no reason.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
It was fun.
So what did you think of the film overall?
I enjoyed the film overall. I think it worked really well. I liked it. I think they could have done a little bit more. But I don't know if it was because they were trying to keep their core audience, because it is kind of, I mean, technically it could be a family show.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if that was the point, or if they were trying to deal with the PG-13 rating.
They do deal with both, excuse me.
Yeah.
But it's also their first movie, and they're coming off of True TV, which is a cable network that's not as well known as probably something like MTV or even big networks. So they're probably trying to stick to their normal thing, make something bigger, but not lose the core audience that they thought they could get.
Right.
One thing I did like a lot about the movie is that they attempted to make something bigger than the show.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, the biggest mistake they make is it just becomes an episode of the TV show.
Like a big long episode.
Yeah, so like they made like the Simpsons movie or the Beavis and Butthead the movie or things like this. Some of those worked really well. Other ones just felt like a long episode.
Yeah.
And that's happened to Star Trek. That's happened to different ones where, with that last Star Trek movie, the Next Generation guys did, it just felt like a long episode.
Yeah. And I liked it. I mean, I think it was funny because they continued some of the familiar gags of having their families involved.
Yeah.
And it's unexpected and just embarrassing situations and putting them in front of people and people getting mad at them. And it's funny.
I was surprised how well the non-challenge stuff worked.
Like the storyline?
The banter and the stuff that was clearly the acting.
Yeah.
They're all actors. They all do comedy or been in movies or TV shows. So it's not like they don't have experience.
Right.
For those that don't know, they're a troupe called the Tenderloins that they've been doing stage shows and things for years, even before they got the TV show.
Yeah.
They were just doing it underground kind of thing. So I wasn't concerned with their being able to perform, but it usually comes off really stupid and cheese and just doesn't work. But they had some great banter, they had some great running gags. There's like a whole running gag thing about what does Murr do at night? And so it became a running throw.
Because all he does during the day is eat soup.
Yeah, he eats soup, yeah.
He eats soup.
Eats soup and annoys Sal.
Every single day.
Yeah, and so they had this whole discussion at one point about what does Murr do at night? I think he does this. I don't think he does this. And so there's a moment where each one of the guys goes to his hotel room at night.
Yeah, looking for something or they need something.
And you find out different things that he does at night.
He's having parties or who knows.
We
don't know.
It's pretty funny little running
weird.
gag. It is, but it's a funny running gag.
It's fun.
But it's a great movie. I loved it.
I did too. I thought it was great. I did wish there had been more Benjamin Cat.
Yeah, well, I told her going in, we better get Benjamin Cat. If you don't know about Benjamin Cat, the actual Benjamin Cat is Q's real cat.
Yes.
But then there's a man in suit, Benjamin Cat, that just torments Sal.
Yeah.
Because Sal's afraid of cats.
Yeah.
But I give them credit because they did other things named Benjamin to kind of keep it a track and do something different. I was more upset with things like the Larry thing not being there as prominent. But you can't just rehash every gag.
I know.
I'm with you. I wish they had really pushed the boundaries on some of their gags. Like the last gag of the movie, they pushed the boundary. But other ones, they seem to play it safe. It's very much like the show where some of them are really, really funny and some of them are just chuckling. Yeah. They don't always work, but that's kind of the thing.
They've done some crazy things.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that things that are funny to me may not be funny to you, or something funny to you.
I find the most random little things funny.
Yeah, the thing she laughs the most at is the Texas episode where she's laughing and she already knows what he's talking about, and all he did is when he says randomly fall, and Sal does this thing where he just falls. She loses her mind every time. It was so bad that I knew how much she liked it. So she was in another country. and I was watching Impractical Jokers, so I videoed it on my phone and I messaged it to her through Facebook, and just got laughs across the thing because it just knew. I'll call her I will wake her up and say, honey, come here real quick if that episode's on. And I'll pause it and she'll walk in there and she'll be like, what? And she'll be irritated or mad. She'll be like, honey, I'm trying to sleep. What? And then he's like, Sal falls. She goes, and she goes, I love you. And then she goes back to bed.
So anyway. No, there's some crazy things like when they shaved Murr's head, or actually his entire body.
I will say this.
He didn't have eyebrows or hair, and they made him go get his driver's license picture.
And that's all the TV show. That's not the movie.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
There's something in the movie for hardcore fans that is a continuation of an old punishment that goes back all the way to like season 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's fun.
That is the best punishment they've ever done, because it made everything come full circle. It answers questions about did these other people ever see what they had done.
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. I would die.
And wanting to see how that plays out in the future of the show. Because they always kept that one random thing going.
Yeah.
So now to see how it plays up,
yeah,
is going to be very intriguing. So I'm very excited.
Gosh.
So anyway, if you haven't,
horrible.
If you like the show or if you haven't seen the show, it's on True TV.
Go watch the show.
It's on all the time.
All of them are on there.
But even if you haven't seen the show, you don't need to. You just go watch the movie. It's a wholly different thing. You'll just miss some of the running gags if you've never seen the show.
But you're not going to miss anything.
But go support it. It's a smaller movie.
Grab some popcorn.
Yeah, it didn't open up in this big market. I was surprised how many people were there, so that made me happy. But it was a fun little movie. Check it out. Impractical Jokers, the movie, in theaters now.
Go see it.
So do you have any theater experiences or anything else you want to talk about?
Not that I can talk about.
She was a little bit rude.
I was. I'm so sorry.
Not because somebody did something. She was just being a hater.
I was being a hater. No, I was glad there were a lot of people there. I was happy about that. Yeah. That's it.
Cool. All right, so I guess that's going to be it then?
Yeah, you got to tell me what's coming out.
Okay, well, there's all kinds of things coming out, madam.
What's that?
So this week, we have a plethora of things. So Rian Johnson's murder mystery Knives Out is coming out this week. If you've not checked out Knives Out, you need to check it out. It's a great movie. Pet Sematary 2 is coming out through Shop Factory.
Shop!
It's not a sequel to the new one. It's a sequel to the original one. Frozen 2 is hitting Blu-ray and DVD and 4K this week. Also, The Hunt for Red October 30th anniversary 4K Stillbox edition.
That's kind of cool.
Is coming out this week. That's
the other one.
That's the other one. What is the other one?
Hunt for
This is the Hunt for Red October. What is the Denzel one?
The Bone Collector.
No. Anyway, it's Alec Baldwin playing Jack Ryan.
There you go.
And then you have James Earl Jones. I got to go look at the Denzel movie on the sub.
Okay.
Then you have Color Space. Color Out of Space. Excuse me. It's a new Nicolas Cage movie that I've heard is great. It's like an acid trip kind of thing. And they're releasing some of the James Bond, Daniel Craig movies on 4K. Getting ready for his new one, No Time to Die, that's going to be hitting. Then there's an Asian film, The Climbers, is coming out. I believe this comes out this week, which is also something we're going to be giving away, so I'll jump into that.
Okay.
So on our contest, there's this movie called Nezha, I guess that's how you say it. It's an Asian animated film. It's about, let's see, it says a young boy, Nezha, maybe just being Neza, I don't know, is birthed from heavenly pearl by the primeval Lord of Heaven. Born with unique powers, finds himself as an outcast who is hated and feared. Destined by prophecy to bring destruction to the world, the young boy must choose between good and evil in order to break the shackles of fate and become the hero. Cool. So it's like an animated flick with dragons and Asian artistry and that kind of thing. Though. Yeah. We're also giving copies of this away. So that comes out this week. It's from Well Go USA. I've seen the trailer for this one a few times. It looks awesome. I've been looking forward to it. We're also giving away Jojo Rabbit that I told you. So don't forget about this. All right. And we have a couple other ones that should be popping up. You okay over here?
What's wrong with soup?
Well,
because he eats soup every single day.
He does eat a lot of soup.
Like every day. That's too much soup.
I'm going to just say that's it for now.
All right. Coming at the theater, it's a slower week because there's just one movie you got to go see, The Invisible Man.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Starring Elizabeth Moss and her invisible husband, who it looks like is trying to kill her. We don't know.
I'm so excited.
But I'm excited.
Because Leigh Whannell directed this.
He's good, man.
It's from Blumhouse. If you don't know Leigh, he's Lee or Leigh, however you say it, it's Leigh. He's a great dude. I met him a couple years ago when he was promoting Upgrade, which is one of my favorite movies that he directed. That's why I know this is going to be good. He's also the co-creator / writer of the Saw franchise. He is the guy in the original movie that wakes up in the bathroom with Carrie Elways. And he created it with James Wan. He's also one of the in the Insidious movies with Lin Shaye. There's the two guys that are writing and listening. Yeah. He's the one that's not the big burly guy with the beard. He's the glasses guy. He did that. He also directed Insidious 3. So he's a great director, really nice guy. But he's got an eye and an ear for that horror genre, so I'm excited to see what he does. And then there's a Netflix film coming out called All the Bright Places, based on a best-selling novel of the same name, starring Elle Fanning, who I like. Not to be confused with the Dakota. Yes, so check it out. They are related. Netflix, there you go. That's a free movie you can watch. So there you go. There you go. That's it. Everything else, there's a bunch of little limited release movies. So we may still go see some other stuff. I may try to hit stuff from this last week. I really wanted to go see Call of the Wild. It's been getting some decent reviews, and I know she's not overly excited to see it. I just don't know. And it's I'm willing to give it a shot. It's got the Harrison Ford in it. I know. I do like Harrison Ford. So we may try to see it. And we missed The Boy 2. Well, I didn't watch The Boy 2 because we gotta watch The Boy 1. I've seen The Boy 1, but you haven't. I have not. And I assumed you want to see The Boy 2 because it's got Katie Holmes in it. Yeah, I do. I love Katie Holmes. To me, we can rent the first Boy movie. Well, she did a lot of things wrong. I know, but to me, she can do no wrong. I love Katie Holmes no matter what. I know. This is my new face. We freed her though from Tom Cruise, so this is just my face all the time now. Is it? Mm-hmm. You had me sold at Upgrade, right? That is such a great. That is such a great film. So I know Invisible Man is going to be good. The action and the everything. The motion of it. You know the story, which we'll talk about next week a little depth. But this isn't the Invisible Man movie we were supposed to get. Not at all. We're supposed to get the guy wrapped in the thing, right? Well, version of it. It was supposed to star Johnny Depp, and it was supposed to be part of the new dark universe. It was Universal Studios was doing all their Universal Monsters. And when The Mummy with Tom Cruise didn't do as well as they hoped, they scrapped the entire idea. But I like the look of the lady in The Mummy. Well, I like her. I like the look of her all the time. Oh, Lord. I just thought her. But they had already announced the entire cast of all the movies that they were going to do. So then it got direction. Jason Blum and Blumhouse jumped in, took over, and now we got this. And I think it's going to be. He's got this coming. He owns Fantasy Island. Now he's got The Invisible Man, and then he's got Halloween Kills later this year. Yeah, it's going to be a great year. So, all right, that's all I have. Peace out, children. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Thank you for watching us on YouTube at Hollywood Matrimony, Facebook at Hollywood Matrimony. We're on Instagram at Hollywood Matrimony, and also on Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR, because of the limited character count. Exactly, and don't forget to join me tomorrow for an all-new episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays. Where I'll be doing the trilogy thing I talked about. I'll be doing the second movie, which is not actually a trilogy, but if you tune in, you'll find out what I'm talking about. Starring one of your favorite martial artists of all time, with a certain ponytail. Nice. And back on Tuesday, we apologize. We have not done a TV Tuesday. I know. 2 weeks. What's happened to you? We've had a lot. It's been this one. She had a week. 1 week she had to work. Then last week. We had some other stuff going on. I don't know what happened. Well, what happened last week? What happened last week is I was doing stuff with my kid after my classes, and then you had to go somewhere else, and then it got to be late. Get down, baby. And it's been one thing after another. So tomorrow this Tuesday we will do a show one way or another. We'll talk about all the stuff we missed out on. We'll get to it, and then return back to another episode on Sunday of Hollywood Matrimony Live, and we'll talk about nonsense like we do, and hopefully have a good old time. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We finally hit 100 subscribers. I know that didn't sound like a lot to everybody. We've only been doing this YouTube channel since, I guess, July or August of last year. Yeah, we don't promote it a lot, not because we don't want to. We just don't. And we don't do any of this for monetary value, so we're not overly worried about. We are not those people that you think, they get paid to get. Yeah, I don't make anything on it. Anything of the stuff we do is we don't get paid for, so it's not about that. We just like having fun, getting the messages out there, talking about the movies.
We love movies.
Yeah, so
we would do it anyway.
We just like getting the subscribers and followers to watch our nonsense and tell other people about our nonsense. So we hit 100. That was the 3 digits. I'm like, hey. Now if people just
tell your friends.
If people would just love me.
I love you. Okay.
Like I said,
not what he's
someone
looking
else.
for.
Anyway, hit that subscribe button here. Hit the orb if it shows up. Watch trailers. Above all else, have a good time. Watch a movie. Find something that makes you happy and be nice to one another.
There you go. Bye.
Peace and love. Peace and love.